The SU-24M was one of the best CAS aircraft upon its arrival to WarThunder, and it is still very solid, carrying some really good CAS options. Obviously, with WarThunder adding new sorts of AA SAM systems like the Claws and the Iris-T, the SU-24 definitely suffers more, lacking any sort of thermal or long-range weapons minus the KH-29TE. It does not have access to the KH-38s or any form of long-range weapon similar. However, it is still pretty decent at CAS. If you can get into games that don't have top-tier AA systems, you are actually able to still perform as a high-altitude GBU or missile slinger. Relying on your airspeed and high altitude to drop off your GBUs or your missiles still allows you to be a fairly successful CAS platform. You still get access to some of the best IR and TV guided weapons that the Soviet and Russian Air Force has to offer in terms of WarThunder, so I would definitely not say it's a dead platform. It's still very usable. Definitely not going to be as good as what like the Su-34 or the Su-30 has to offer, but obviously you're at a lower BR and you're performing a slightly different role. I do think this aircraft has a lot of potential, especially when being able to play it without having to fight those new AA systems. It does allow you to actually bully some of these lower BR AA. Now your KH-29TE is still a pretty successful weapon system. You are able to use it at longer ranges. I will say it is a lot slower and more sluggish than what your KH-38s are, or what the KH-38 is. So just keeping that in mind. I will say this thing plays a lot like the MiG-27, so for Russian air players who have played the game for a while and have played the MiG-27 when it was really good at CAS, especially the K version, this one plays very similar. I honestly really do like this platform for CAS. I wish it had some form of thermal targeting pod, or some form of longer range weapon. Or honestly, Gaijin could also remove its KH-29TEs and some of the other guided weapons and put it at a lower BR. But I think it fills a good CAS role, and it is definitely a very good platform. I take this over the Su-25T simply because it's faster. I do like the Su-25T to be able to carry all the Fakirs though, so keeping that in mind. Now, you do get access to the same sort of weapons that most Soviet aircraft get, KH-25ML, your CAB 500s and your CAB 500 KRs. So it's all very similar weapon platforms, and you also do get access to a bunch of unguided weapons to keep in mind. In terms of ARB, you do get access to the R-60M, which is a okay air-to-air missile. But you're definitely not going to go out there and be any sort of phenomenal air-to-air platform. But you do get 4 air-to-air missiles, and you can carry, I think, up to 3 gun pods, as well as your additional, 23mm or 30mm cannon. So it is a very, very good option to run in terms of, what you have for your air-to-ground. Now, I do think, as far as its swept wing design goes, it is a bit sluggish, especially at lower speeds. Most aircraft that are swept are like designed like the Su-24 are going to be. Obviously, it's a twin seat, twin engine swept design. It's obviously not going to be very nimble, so you're not going to go dogfight and win. But you can actually hold your own in a dogfight, especially if you get your wings out and get into a rate. You do have some options there, but don't expect to go out and be destroying everything in air-to-air combat. I will say, as far as how relevant it is in today's squad or in today's ground battles, it can be competitive. It does have okay enough weapons, and if you stay out of top tier where you're going up against those good new SAM systems, you have a chance. You genuinely do. I will say I think it is more fun to play this thing than the Su-30 and Su-34 because it's at a lower BR. It's definitely better to go up against things like the ADATs or the Flak Rack or the Tor M1 than to go up against things like the Iris-T and the Claws. So just keeping that in mind. Anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts down below on the Su-24M. Do you guys think it's a capable CAS platform? Do you guys think it's fun to play? Do you guys think Gaijin should remove some of its CAS options and let it go to a lower BR? Or do you guys think it's fine where it's at? Please let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you guys are not already subscribed, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.